Okay.
All right, so listen in, and then I'll make sure if you've got any questions, you get a chance to ask them, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Great. So, Ms. Snyder, it's on for final plea. Are we in a position to have that exchange?
Yes, sir. This case has been around for a while, first with Judge Reeder and then with Your Honor. You may remember we had a bond hearing earlier this summer during the pandemic. Mr. McCarver would like a trial, so we would just further notice it to a trial calendar.
Okay. Well, let me at least make sure he knows what the state's recommendation is. I've called the file up, so I'm looking at it on the screen here. He did get a bond. Let me see one other thing. Excuse me. Here we go. He had a bond before. Remind me of what happened? He basically got the same bond again. Had he disappeared briefly?
No.
No. Okay.
It was a probation problem.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, Ms. Hall, what is the state's offer right now for Mr. McCarver?
The aggravated battery 10 served 3 balance on probation.
Okay. So, Mr. McCarver, if you were to enter a plea today, and I know you're not necessarily interested in doing that, but I just need to hear it from you. The state would be recommending that as a result of these charges, you should serve 3 years in prison and 7 years on probation. Do you understand what the state's offer is right now?
Yes, sir.
Are you interested in pursuing a plea along those lines?
No, sir.
Okay, you'd like to have a trial instead?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Snyder, any obstacle you can see, other than the obvious ones that we're not having jury trials right now, to getting to trial? You're ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Hall, any issues from the state side, or this could be trial ready if and when we are trying bond criminal cases?
We'll be ready, Your Honor. Or we are ready, so no issues.
I'd like to hear that. All right. So, Mr. McCarver, I'll move your case to a trial calendar. We right now are prioritizing cases with defendants in jail rather than out on bond. So we'll add you to the list. It won't be right away. If you ever have questions about what's going on, you need to reach out to Ms. Snyder, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, hold on one second. I want to confirm your address. All right, I've got an address for you in Snellville on Club Drive. Is that a good address for you?
Yes, sir. 2632.
Okay, well, if you move, you need to make sure you let Ms. Snyder know that so she can get that address updated, okay?
I will, sir.
All right, I appreciate that. Ms. Snyder, anything else in Mr. McCarver's case?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. McCarver, you're free to go.
Thank you, Mr. McBurney.
You're welcome.
You too.
All right.
Ms. Snyder.
Okay, that gets us to position 3 and 5, which is Ms. Hubbard, and I see Ms. Hubbard there. Ms. Hubbard is represented by Ms. Patel. I see Ms. Patel. Tell me, Ms. Patel, what's going on with Ms. Hubbard's 2 cases?
Your Honor, so in talking with Ms. Hall, and I don't want to speak on behalf of Ms. Sellers, Ms. Hall indicated that Ms. Sellers was waiting to see how we handled the more serious case before proceeding on the older case. The more serious case, position 5, we're still having an issue with discovery to no fault of Ms. Hall. Capeville has been, it's not that they've been non-responsive, they just aren't providing us with what we've been requesting. So I believe Ms. Hall served me with a package of discovery today that I reviewed before court this afternoon, and it is just a copy of what was already provided. And Ms. Hall then made a call to Hatesville. It appears as though they treated her request like an open records request and didn't provide an actual copy of the full detective file. On top of that, I had subpoenaed on my own a 911 call that officers had confirmed was made from my client's phone. They instead gave me a different 911 call that we already had. And when I called to follow up with them today, they indicated that they had no 911 calls from 2019 because their system was corrupted and they lost everything from 2019. But I pointed out that they had recently served me with a 911 call last week. So they seem to not have a good idea as to what all they have. And I think that hopefully the detective will be able to copy his whole file and provide that to Ms. Hall, because there is some important stuff in there, namely my client's cell phone dump, as well as some written statements by one of the state's main witnesses that we're missing. So I'm not sure when Ms. Hall thinks the detective can get her that.
Okay. Well, before I hear from you, Ms. Hall, let me hear from Mr. Wright. And good afternoon, Mr. Wright. I see you there. Is that Mr. Harris in the background with you?
It is, Your Honor.
Great. So I suspect you're in the same situation. And so I'm somewhat relieved to see that Mr. Harris is on bond as well. I didn't remember, but he's on bond. So these delays are not welcome, but they aren't delays where we're having to juggle. Well, your client's sitting in jail and Hapeville cannot figure out how to get its act together.
Yes.
Okay. So you two are missing some discovery.
Yes. In fact, I know some just got served today, which are some interviews and other video, digital kind of stuff. So hopefully we'll have that by courier today. And then some of the additional things. But at this point, we would say we would ask to continue to a later date before having to make a decision.
Okay. And Ms. Sellers, you are content putting the case ending in 337, the one with the cruelty to children charges, et cetera. I assume that's the one that's yours. Putting that on hold while Ms. Hall and the attorneys for the two defendants work through the shooting case. Is that right?
That's right, Your Honor. I do have an offer today that I have not relayed to Ms. Patel. After speaking with the officers, and I can relay that, now.
Well, what I'll let you do, you can send it to her through the chat feature, you can email her, but I'm not going to have Ms. Hubbard decide, am I going to sort out this one case and not the other one? I think it makes sense, unless there's a reason the state has, which I'm happy to honor if it's a good reason, to have the obstruction and cruelty to children case move at a different pace than the shooting case.
No, Your Honor, it's fine for that case to move with her other open case.
Okay.
The aggravated assault case.
Okay. Ms. Sellers, do you have a sense yet whether you will be remaining as the accountability court prosecutor in the new year, or is that one of the unknowns that will be announced on December 20th?
Well, Your Honor, I have received notice that I will not be continuing in the accountability courts, and actually will be coming to the complex trial division.
Okay. Well, I guess congratulations. We will miss you in the accountability courts. I asked that not to put you on the spot in front of all these folks, but if there is an offer that you are comfortable making, it sounds like you better share it with Ms. Patel so she gets it before you disappear, so that she will be able to say, no, look, and you may want to send it in an email so Ms. Patel can actually hold up a piece of paper saying to the new accountability court prosecutor, your predecessor of many years' experience felt this was a reasonable disposition. And it doesn't necessarily bind your successor, but at least it will help document it as we, in your absence, try to work through Ms. Hubbard's 2 cases.
Okay. That does make sense, Your Honor. I will.
Okay. Well, thank you for working up the case. Ms. Hall, last but not least, it sounds like this case is only marginally better for you than the O'Neill case in terms of getting discovery. Tell me how much time you think we ought to build in before the next final plea for Mr. Harris and Ms. Hubbard.
Your Honor, as I told you earlier, I went and picked up this evidence myself last night. So I was under the impression that we had everything. I have since talked to the investigator that actually worked this case. I would like to say a couple weeks because he said that he's going to get me those written statements through email. But there is also a phone dump and other search warrants and things that we didn't get. I like to believe him when he say he's going to get me these things, but I don't know. So I want to say a couple weeks and sometime in January, but maybe to be on the safe side, February, just to make sure, because Hateville has misrepresented a lot of things when it comes to this case. And I don't want to throw my colleagues under the bus, but I mean, I've been working really hard to try to get this evidence to both defendants' counsels, but it's just not happening. But I am okay with, now that I've spoken with the actual investigator that has the file. He was not in last week, and we finally spoke last night and this morning. He thought they gave me everything, but I didn't have a computer with me to see if it was everything last night. I just took it to the office and copied it. So now I think that we're going to get it, but I still would like a couple weeks or maybe even 30 days to make sure we're not in this position again when we're back.
Sure. Well, I just soon not inconvenience Mr. Wright and Ms. Patel and their clients to just say you need 2 more weeks. So my thought would be to put this on a February final plea calendar. Mr. Wright, any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor.
Ms. Patel?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. We'll further notice these 2 cases, 2 for Ms. Hubbard, 1 for Mr. Harris, to a final plea calendar in February. And by that time, my hope is that all the discovery is in. If the discovery that you receive, Mr. Wright and Ms. Patel, prompts you to file a substantive motion for which we need to have an evidentiary hearing, please let Ms. Nelson know, because then we ought not to keep it on the final plea calendar. We ought to schedule a motions hearing, which we'll do. I don't know when that would be, but we certainly can have those kinds of motions these days. I just don't want us to get together for the final plea in February and one of you say, well, but I have this motion to suppress. Let's avoid the unnecessary final plea calendars if there's something that we need to take care of first. And it may be that you get all the discovery and say it is what it is, there are no motions, and then we'll see folks in February. But if you do have a motion, it will not be out of time if you didn't have the discovery until December or January. And then we'll instead set this down for a motions hearing. All right?
Yes.
Ms. Hall, anything else in the Harris and Hubbard case?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Sellers, anything else?
No, Your Honor, nothing further from the state.
All right, Mr. Wright?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, if I don't see you, sir, have a safe holiday.
You too, Judge. Have a great holiday. Be safe.
Okay, and Ms. Patel, anything else on behalf of Ms. Hubbard?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hubbard, you are free to go. Mr. Lewis, I see that you have joined us. We'll get to you in a minute. We are going to take the final position on the calendar because he and his lawyers were all ready to go. And then we will double back and take care of Ms. Dawson's situation because I see her there on as well. So we'll get you guys going in just a minute. All right. So position 6 is State versus Farouk. I see Mr. Farouk wearing his, is that a Eagles hood? What hoodie is that? It is the Eagles. Oh my gosh. Should we add that to his sentence? No, I'm just kidding, Mr. Farouk. How's your leg?
It's getting better. It's
Good.
getting better.
All right. Ms. Patel, there was a motion to suppress that I ruled on, so I think this case ought to be ready to have the final plea discussion. Is there anything else you're aware of, short of having that discussion and then getting this on a trial calendar?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Hodge, what is the state's offer if Mr. Farouk were inclined to enter a plea at this time?
The state's offer is 25 years to serve, balance of life on probation, Your Honor.
Okay, so the statutory minimum based on the present charges in the indictment.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Farouk, if you were to enter a plea today, the state at this point is not proposing reducing any of the charges, and so the lowest sentence they could ask for, the lowest sentence Ms. Patel could ask for, and the lowest sentence I could give you statutorily would be 25 years to serve, followed by a lifetime on probation. Do you understand that sentence?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is that a plea you are interested in pursuing at this time?
No, sir.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do, Mr. Farouk, is move your case to the trial calendar. I can't give you a good date yet as to when we might have a trial. You're on bond right now, and as long as you comply with the conditions of your bond, you'll stay on bond. That's good news for you because you're not in jail. It does mean that your case will move a little more slowly as we are trying to get into court for jury trials, the cases where the defendants have been in jail for a while. But we will move your case to a trial calendar. You'll need to stay in touch with Ms. Patel, especially if you move, because the way that we reach you is by mail. We don't email you, we don't call you, but the court would send something through U.S. mail saying, here's when you need to come in for your trial. So please stay in touch with Ms. Patel. Ms. Hodge, anything else in Mr. Farouk's case?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Patel?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
All right. Well, thank you both.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, that completes my business with the court as well. May I be excused?
Wow, everyone's leaving. Yep,
Thank you.
sure. All right, let's turn to folks who are willing to stick around. We have back to position one, State versus Ms. Dawson, and I see Ms. Dawson's head again on that same porch as last time. We've got her lawyer, Lawrence Lewis, on Marilyn's iPhone. And today is the day for final plea. When we were last together, I think Ms. Hall had floated the notion of a pretrial diversion, pretrial intervention, a diversionary disposition for Ms. Dawson. And Mr. Lewis, you had asked for some time to discuss that with your client. Ms. Dawson, are you able to hear us? You're on mute, Ms. Dawson.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't hear the last thing you said.
Okay, I was recapping where I think we are in the case, which is last time that we were speaking, you were on that same front porch. I think Mr. Lewis was in court somewhere, dashing from case to case. We were giving you and your lawyer a little more time to talk about a pretrial diversion approach to the case. I'm going to ask Mr. Lewis now to give me the update from the defense side.
Well, Judge, let me just say this, Judge. I feel like I've been running harder since COVID-19 hit than I've ever ran in my life, and I feel like I'm not even accomplishing a third of what I want to accomplish, even though I'm running much harder than I have for 25 years. Ms. Dawson and I haven't really had a chance to sit down and talk. I'll just be honest with you, Judge. I was hoping to be able to sit down face to face and talk with her. I suspect the case is going to be resolved with the pretrial diversion. I can't see a situation where it's not going to be resolved with the pretrial diversion. But we haven't gone over all the evidence, and we haven't talked about we talked about the terms, but we haven't talked about all of the mechanics. I know there's some community service involved. I know there's online classes that are going to be involved. There may be some restitution that's going to be involved, but I'll just be honest with you, Judge. It just hasn't. She and I haven't hooked up, and I'm going to take most of that blame because I've been running, but it's just hopefully it's the same for everybody. Hopefully it's the same for you too, Judge. You feel like you're working harder and harder. You're just not moving a whole lot of stuff because that's how it's just been for the last 6 months for me.
Do you have your calendar with you, Mr. Lewis?
I do.
Great. Why don't you and Ms. Dawson right now, with me listening, talk about schedules so we can see if there's a time Ms. Dawson and you can get together so I know when that's going to be.
I would hope that I'm going to be here the entire week of the 28th. December 28th. I'm going to be in my office. December 28th, 29th, 30th, 1st. All of that's going to be, all of that is available, Judge. Wednesday, the 23rd is also good for me.
Let's hear from Ms. Dawson. Ms. Dawson, first, are you able to get to Mr. Lewis's office?
Yes.
Great. So what works better for you, Wednesday the 23rd or someday the week of the 28th?
The week of the 28th.
Okay, what day?
Let me look at my calendar. The 28th, let's see. The 28th, actually.
Okay.
The 28th looks good. Yeah.
The 28th at noon?
The 28th at noon, yes.
Okay.
Great. Ms. Hall, you are entitled to vacation and I hope you take it. Are you working the week of the 28th or are you off?
I'm off. I don't mind. What would I have to do? Sign the PTI form?
You don't have to do anything. I want to know if you're off. You are off. When do you come back?
The 4th.
The 4th. So, Mr. Lewis, you're going to meet with your client, Ms. Dawson, at noon on the 28th.
Right.
You need to let Ms. Hall know via email what the plan is. We're on, we're off, start those negotiations. Hopefully it's not much of a negotiation because it sounds like a reasonable offer.
Yes.
Ms. Hall, when you return, if you and Mr. Lewis have reached a meeting of the minds, then you just need to get that virtual PTI order to him so that he can sign it and sign it on behalf of his client. And then if you signed it, you get it to me, I have something to sign and I don't have to keep dragging you guys into court on this matter. So I will look for a virtual PTI order as signed by counsel for Ms. Dawson and Ms. Hall sometime the week of the 4th. If I don't see it that week, I'm assuming that we have to put this case on a trial calendar. I suspect that's not what everyone wants, but I want to keep pushing. This is a case from 2018, and we're going to resolve it in 2021. That's not very quick. So I'm okay leaning on you a little bit during the holiday season.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Okay.
So, Ms. Hall, I'm going to get out of everyone's hair or mustache, and I will look for something the week of the 4th. If something comes up, obviously things do, then let me know if we need to alter that. But I'm expecting first week of January, Ms. Nelson is told it's all sorted out. Does that work for you, Mr. Lewis?
That does, Judge. I'll be in touch with the prosecutor. I'll email her on Monday. If there's an issue with Monday, then I'll try to schedule it a time on Tuesday, but definitely the week of the 28th.
Okay.
But right now it's going to be Monday at noon.
Okay, Monday at noon with Ms. Dawson. Ms. Hall is out of commission the week of the 28th, so you shouldn't be expecting to hear from her, but she'll be back in action the week of the 4th with a very full mailbox. And one of the things she can do is respond to your email, and hopefully you guys have sorted it all out.
Thank you very much, Judge.
All right, Ms. Hall, anything else in the Dawson matter?
Yes, Your Honor. Not with you, though. Mr. Lewis, can you send me an email today so that I can have a correct number or contact information for you? I did reach out, but I had a wrong number.
Let me take your email. Hold on one second.
Okay. But no, as far as the case, Your Honor.
Go ahead. What's your email?
KASSIE.HALL@FultonCounty, spelled out GA.gov.
Cassie.Hall@FultonCountyGA.gov.
Cassie Hall, no Cassie.Hall. Cassie Hall at FultonCounty.com, FultonCountyGeorgia.com, FultonCountyGA.com.
And there is a dot between Cassie and Hall.
Okay, good. Cassie.Hall at FultonCountyGA.gov.
What is a good phone number for Ms. Hall to reach you?
She can reach me at the office. The office judge is 678-407-9300. I'll send her my cell number when I send her the email.
Okay, but the 9300, is that a different number, Ms. Hall, than you were dialing?
It is.
Good. Okay, she had a number that wasn't getting to you on the work front. So thank you for sharing the work number. You can, through a separate channel, share your cell phone number, and you guys will take it from there. Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Match is made. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, I think that's it. Thank you, Officer Crawford, Ms. Rolak, Ms. Nelson. And what do we have next? Do we have Thursday? Tomorrow we have a mock trial. Thursday we have a calendar at 10:30. Okay.
Confusing, but we'll be okay.
What?
I said Thursday we have a little something, but we'll be okay.
Okay, great. I'll be there. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.